Off with something from the AFC North. Give me a little hot take.
All right, the divisional title in the AFC North, the Steelers and the Ravens will both be 9-7, and Week 18 will come down for the division title.
Are you buying that? Do you guys buy that?
Yeah.
Are the Steelers and Ravens going to be sitting there, both of them fighting for that on the last week of the season?
I'll buy it. One, I think Pittsburgh defensively much better last week. They need efficiency on offense. That's their primary focus, so I'm in on that too. The reason I can get on the Ravens is Kyle Hamilton. There is no player defensively that is impacting their team more than Kyle Hamilton is right now. That's why I can get on board with that.
My concern is not the Ravens making this happen, it's the Steelers making this happen. If their defense can continue to play the way they did last week against the Indianapolis Colts, I can absolutely see them the last week of the season. We got the flex, we got the popcorn going on, and it's really going to come down to Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, and Cameron Hayward, because those guys lit up the Indianapolis Colts offensive line last week.
In a related story, we're way over 300 retweets already, so the guys will be wearing suits next week.
This is how I didn't sign up for this.
Next, straight out of Compton, who do you have winning the AFC West?
The Denver Broncos will be winning the AFC West and dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs.
They've won it 9 straight years. Are we willing to say
grinning about, Hawk?
The king is dead, long live the king?
I don't know what the backstory is between Will and the Chiefs, but I feel like all of his takes are coming at their neck. I'm against it. I'm going Chiefs. I'm going with what we've known and seen from Patrick Mahomes. He has all these weapons. Little blip last week, but this is still the best team in that division.
I agree. Change is scary, and I can see the change happening based on where this Denver Broncos defense plays. For me, it's the Broncos offense. They start so slow in the first half. If they play that way against the Kansas City Chiefs, it's not going to happen.
I'm going to get one more in here. Will, this one is not about a team, but it's about a player that you think doesn't get enough love.
Matthew Stafford is the most underappreciated player in the NFL and arguably NFL history.
Dan?
Cosign, everyone knows. I totally agree.
Dan loves
right now,
that one.
King of the fan club,
Dan
Dan. Let's
loves
go.
that one.
Right now, there is not a quarterback in football throwing the ball better than Matthew Stafford. It is clinical, their pass game right now, both in the drop back and the play action game, and he's as hot throwing the ball as anybody.
And Hawk has a tape.
Matt Stafford has been dialed in. What I'm going to talk about is his chemistry with Devontae Adams and the 5+ yards. In the last 3 games, they scored 5 touchdowns. Why? Defenses are committing 10 people to trying to stop the run, and they're leaving Devontae Adams one-on-one, who's the best receiver off the line, and Matt Stafford, who's the best player for the football. A simple 2-way go. I'm going inside, touchdown. You've also seen it 3 other times where he's gone to fade, and one-on-one, you can't beat him. Now, in this one, they try to get cute. They say, hey, we're going to try to bait them back into that same slant throw, put a safety there, same situation, hit him off the line. Now I'm going the other way, put the ball where only Devontae Adams can get it. Easy touchdowns. This, to your point about Matt Stafford, this becomes simple to him. Placing the ball, he's so far past that. In the last 5 years, he's been a completely different player than we saw in the first 15.
All right, we'll keep an eye on all of that as we go. We'll have much more football as we go. Bold predictions. And Will, I'm leaning forward in my chair as I listen to yours.
I have some optimism for you, Greeny. I'm going to say as part of this Jets rebuild, you're going to see Arch Manning in a New York Jets jersey, and you're going to see Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver out of Ohio State, in a New York Jets jersey. How does that make you feel, Greeny?
Oh, it'll be the greatest day. It'll be the best day since his bar mitzvah.
6-11 loading, baby. Let's go, boys. Come on, we got this.
He said it's his best day since his bar mitzvah.
I got to calm down. I got to cool off. All right, next. Orlovsky, give me a bold prediction.
Oh, man. I think Kyler Murray has taken his last snap as an Arizona Cardinal.
Oh.
Just the way that this offense has looked under Jacoby Brissett and the reality of the injury and where this organization, I believe, is headed under GM Monty Ossenfort and head coach Jonathan Gannon. Kyler's still unbelievably talented, but he'll be playing elsewhere next year.
Cindy, can you hold on a minute before, just super quickly before we get to the next one? Kyler Murray taking his last snap with the Cardinals, is that?
Look, here's the deal.
I feel like people are thinking that.
I can understand why Dan would say that. We have a situation where he's placed on IR. He's still rehabbing his foot. Jacoby Brissett's playing well. If Jacoby Brissett keeps playing well, they're not going to take him out. So part of this is Dan saying, yes, I believe Jacoby Brissett will continue to play well. And then the other part of it is Kyler now is going to be in a situation where he's going to be looking out for himself. Why is he going to want to come back in here to play when he might want to wait till the offseason where the two sides can sit down and figure out what would be the best path?
We did it yesterday. There's still like $140 million left on his contract.
No, there's $38 $38 million plus in guaranteed
I don't think
money
it's
left.
as untradeable as some people have estimated.
It's not.
Okay, I would like that one a lot. Okay, I'm interested in that one a lot is what I meant to say. Okay, back to the bold predictions. Taylor Lewan.
Oh, we're just going to get back to the bold predictions.
Go.
Dropping a hammer like that. Listen, if your name is not the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East, go ahead and book your flights to Cabo now, boys, because that one is over. You got sand, margaritas, pina coladas in your future. Philadelphia Eagles, I know there's been a lot of question marks about them early in the year. Can they run the ball? Can they pass the ball? Can they do it both at the same time? It doesn't really matter. They're going to win the division because the rest of you, quarterbacks are hurt, defenses are bad, and the Creatine Caucasians have been cut in half.
It'll be the first time in 21 years that a team repeats as NFC East division champion.
2004.
But I agree, it certainly seems over. And so this weekend, or I should say Monday night, we get one of the best games of the year. Eagles at Packers. Green Bay needs this game badly. Look at the numbers on your screen. If they lose, the Packers' chance to earn the 1 seed in the NFC goes to 4%. If they win, they actually have a better chance than the Eagles do. So let's start with the Eagles and see where we wind up with that. We talked about this game earlier. We focused a lot on the Packers. Let's talk about the Eagles. They won a couple games before the bye. They take the bye.
Right.
A.J. Brown situation. They make the big trades during the trade deadline here, add 3 pieces on the defense. So it certainly feels like the Eagles are gearing up for a Super Bowl repeat run.
Which is a little bit what they did last year. In the bye, they had these organizational meetings, came out with a purpose, came out with a passion, and went on to storm the second half of the season and win the Super Bowl. I'm sure there were a lot of meetings and discussions within that building over the last couple of weeks while they had their bye. In addition, we saw the rest of the division essentially go up in flames. The teams have lost games. The Eagles' magic number is now 6 to win the division. Nobody expects Washington, the Giants, or Dallas to catch the Eagles at this point in time.
That was my take.
And the Eagles also have gone out and traded for Michael Carter, who used to play nickelback for your Jets, who at one point in time became one of the highest paid nickelbacks in the game when the Jets general manager was Joe Douglas. Where's Joe Douglas now?
Back in Philadelphia.
Back in Philadelphia, telling them Michael Carter is somebody that we want. Jair Alexander they trade for, cornerback in Baltimore. At one point this summer, the Ravens felt like he might have been their most effective cornerback. For whatever reason, couldn't get on the field. The Eagles rolled the dice because they flipped picks on him. And then they go out and trade a 3rd-round pick for Jalen Phillips. So they've added 3 players to that defense while the magic number's at 6, while they've had the meetings, and they look like they're poised to have a strong finish.
Absolutely. So you talk about the NFC East. That's one thing. Are the Eagles once again the team to beat? I've been fascinated by the sort of machinations of the A.J. Brown situation all the way through.
Yeah.
Didn't play the last game before the bye. How confident are you that that doesn't become an issue? Teams are always, they overuse the word distraction, but that's something teams are always concerned about. How confident are you that they're able to manage that situation and everything else and make a run back to the Super
I think when it comes to distractions, a lot of distractions are highlighted in the early part of the year, the first half of the year. As you get into the second half of the year, you realize what your team is. Teams start to realize, okay, are we a playoff team or not? And then of the playoff teams, who of us are contenders? The Philadelphia Eagles know they're contenders. They've added the necessary pieces on defense, and A.J. Brown has been able to watch, as he sat on the sidelines before their bye week, addition with subtraction of him not playing in that game. So I think the offense has taken steps. Dan talks a lot about being under center. They've done that a whole lot more. And now that we're getting into the meat and potatoes of November and December of the season, this is when you put the app down, you get into business, and you focus on winning a back-to-back.
They prove it by going to Lambeau Field and beating a Packer team that laid an egg last week, but maybe there's something to the trap game. We talked about that earlier this morning. Packers were coming off of the emotional win against Aaron, maybe already looking ahead to this meeting here. What will the Eagles show you if they go into Lambeau Field Monday night and beat the Packers?
I think they lose at Lambeau. They're going to come in. They had a lot more success running the football against the Giants. They've only kind of put it together for one game. They're going to try and run the football. I think the Packers are in a big get-back spot defensively because they had trouble stopping the run. And this is one of the better defenses in the NFL, stopping the run. Earn the right to rush the passer. Micah Parsons is going to come alive. To me, this is the Green Bay Packers.
Can they create negative plays on defense? That is the fundamental difference between that defensive unit this year and last year that won the Super Bowl. So it's going to be huge on Monday night against the Packers. It's now huge with the Jalen Phillips addition and Nolan Smith coming back. everyone's talked about this defensive line and not getting to the quarterback. It's really not that different than last year. They just haven't gotten the quarterback down. And so this team will not win the Super Bowl again unless their defensive line will create negative plays, because offensively, we will always hunt that third cornerback. And until you prove to me that you can cover at that number 3 spot, the teams in the NFC, Stafford, the Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks, they've got 3 receivers that can go chase you down. And so unless that defensive line gets quarterbacks down on the ground, they're not going to repeat.
And the Packers just lost arguably the best tight end in football last week.
And with the inconsistencies at the O-line, too, like this will be a big week for them to finally.
And the question mark gotten a whole lot better. And if Rico Dowdle and the Panthers' offensive line can do what they did against the Packers, there's Saquon Barkley and those 2 tackles. The Panthers didn't do anything special in the run game. They got under center, they ran gap scheme, and then when they got everybody in the box, they ran to the
That's why I think coming off the bye, it's interesting offensively from Philly what the self-scouting told them. It's easy for all of us to sit here and say, yeah, they'll keep Jalen Hurts underneath the center and they'll run the football more efficiently, but will they? They only did it for 2 games. Now, they were 10 points better and 120 yards better per game, but that's not really who they were the first 6 weeks of the season. It's a no-brainer to me, but it's still to be seen. Will they actually schematically do that?
We were seeing a little Saquon there, who last year had one of the great seasons in the history of the sport and has been somewhat startlingly quiet the first half of this season. I've had some people up here telling me they think they were sort of resting him along or sort of keeping him fresh a little bit after all the wear and tear of last year, and that maybe now it's time to unleash him. Does Saquon have a huge second half?
If they keep the quarterback underneath the center, they will, because I think they can run at defenses rather than trying to run around defenses.
We're back on Get Up. Couple of things to update. We've gone way over the number of retweets that we needed, so once again, the Bussin Boys will be wearing suits on the air next week. We're expecting a professional appearance from you gentlemen, and we're looking forward to it. That was your idea, not ours, so don't blame me.
I'll give you a suit. I can't say it's going to be professional.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see what that comes away looking like. All right, next piece of business. Who is the only coach in the FBS over the last 75 years with more than 2 undefeated national titles? That's how many Saban had. Who's the only coach with more?
You know, it's funny how in the commercial break, everybody wants to have an opinion and get loud, especially Danny O. Will said something in the beginning, and he wanted to hit at the end. Go ahead, Will.
I got a lot to lose here if I would get this wrong. So I'm going to go with my Nebraska Cornhuskers. 94, 95, 97, we split the national title. I'm going to say Tom Osborne.
That's right.
And
it's the right years. He got the years correct. 94, 95.
Can I just say one thing?
Undefeated season.
Yes.
Can I just ask Will Compton one thing?
Yes.
Will, who won the 1997 national championship?
Michigan also won the national
Based
title.
on the Bussin Bowl bet. So that is actually incorrect. Hembo, you got that one.
That's it.
Hey.
The last thing I heard Orlovsky yell from the corner was, "It's not Nebraska."
He's like, it's Notre Dame.
I thought it was Notre Dame, but I wasn't focused on the coach.
So that was fun. Now,
That's not me.
with special guests in our studio, I have to start our next feature with an apology. This was my idea. You know, we will take almost anyone's name and we'll turn it into a pun and we'll make a segment out of it. So yesterday I thought we should get some segment for Taylor Lewan where we ask him a bunch of quick questions and do it fast. And it hit me, let's call it Taylor Swift.
Oh, jeez.
Very original.
So we are going to do, we have 13 questions for Taylor Lewan.
For the record, I did not know this was happening.
No, he's finding this out for the first time. We have 13 questions for you, which is an Easter egg. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and we're going to see how many of these you can answer in 60 seconds. And there will be some little Taylor notes along the way.
Hey, no right or wrong.
Will, you're
no right or wrong.
Other step of the way. You ready? Put the minute on the clock. Here we go. Will the Packers' love story end with a Super Bowl?
I believe the answer to that is no. The offensive line is too inconsistent. Oh,
No.
Okay, it's one word.
No, you can go either way.
Okay, just one word.
You got
As many
60
questions as
seconds.
possible.
The answer is no. All right, keep it moving. Are the Patriots a Super Bowl team, or is that just their wildest dreams?
I think yes. I could see it happening. Anything can happen in January.
Yes, Patriots, Vrabel, 1 seed. I'm riding with them the whole way.
Josh Allen is 13-2 against the Dolphins in the regular season. Will Sunday's game against the Bills be an outcome the Dolphins know all too well?
Yes, they'll never beat the Bills again.
Correct, with Taylor.
Next, the Colts. Will they take their loss to the Steelers last week and shake it off against the Falcons in Germany?
Absolutely, they're still contenders.
Yeah, Colts. I got the Colts.
Did you just find a
Shake
Taylor?
it off.
Is that the first song you've known so far? Is that why you were singing along? Next.
Oh, there have been little
10
Easter eggs
seconds.
throughout the whole
Can
thing.
the Steelers defense create a blank space on the scoreboard against the Chargers?
I believe so, especially with the injuries to the offensive line. Will, answer the question.
Oh, what Taylor said. Taylor Swift.
Last one. Will the Vikings be down bad against the Ravens?
Yes.
Yes.
60 seconds. We got them all in.
Come on,
that
Ben.
is well done. That is Taylor Swift. If you enjoyed it, it was my idea. If you absolutely hated it, we blame it on the staff. That's hosting 101. Very well done, fellas. All right, and let's get to that game then for a moment. Ravens are averaging 31.8 points per game with Lamar in the lineup. Now they get an NFC team which is music to Lamar's ears. He's 24-3 in his career against the NFC. Best record by any starting quarterback in interconference games since the merger in 1970. So we've talked about Lamar. We've talked about the Ravens. We haven't said a whole lot about the Vikings. And the first question I wanted to ask you, Dan, when we got to this game was the J.J. McCarthy of it all. He played well last week. It was an impressive win. It was his third NFL game. I think it's important to underline that. But as you went back and watched it, how good is J.J. McCarthy? Is this team ready to play in a game like this, which is one they desperately need?
When the number one receiver is open, he's very good. And that's where this falls upon Kevin O'Connell. How much can he scheme up to allow J.J. McCarthy to play his best? Because when he knows the coverage and he thinks that first anticipated read is going to be the guy, it's really good. He throws it really good. He throws it with super confidence. He puts his back foot in the ground. That ball is drilled right where it's needed to be. When he has to get to that first or second guy, that's when you see the dip off between accuracy but also tension. When he has to throw to that first receiver, it's easier. It seems more natural. When he gets to that second and third guy, it's almost like you're watching in real time, just tense up, and then sometimes meet a hawk, the ball's absolutely ripped, and you're like, you don't need to throw it that hard in that moment. And so he's still so young. It's still, to your point, his fourth game essentially in the NFL as the guy, so it has to improve. But there is a little period of just let's get him his reps. But Kevin O'Connell's got to scheme things up right now.
I think there's been a lot made. You've pointed it out here, as many others have. Obviously, your history and Taylor's history with Michigan and everything else with McCarthy. For a normal quarterback, if you just sort of look at their experience, this would be like week 4 of his rookie season.
Correct.
This would be September of your rookie year. But unfortunately, because the circumstances have been what they've been, he gets inserted in the midst of a playoff run that they desperately need every single win. He goes on the road and he beats the Lions. Now they get a Baltimore team that people are all expecting to make a run here. The circumstances for McCarthy are pretty tough.
Well, he entered Sunday, I think, with more pressure on him than just about any player in the National Football League because everybody knows it's a franchise that had on its roster last season Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Again, here we are with the New York quarterbacks shining elsewhere. What people don't realize, of course, is that Minnesota attempted to keep both. They tried to re-sign Sam Darnold. They tried to keep Daniel Jones. Both quarterbacks opted for jobs elsewhere, knowing how much belief and confidence the Vikings had in J.J. McCarthy. They wanted to play. And so Daniel Jones figured his best opportunity to play was competing against Anthony Richardson, not J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold figured his best chance to play was in Seattle, where they were trading Geno. And they were right. They were right. That leaves J.J. McCarthy having to take over a team that last year went to the playoffs with a lot of questions, a lot of pressure. He's battled through injuries, had more injuries this year, has struggled to stay on the field. And as you mentioned, that was his third start. This would be his 4th NFL game. That's very early.
Get quarterbacks to play at their very best. They have great season no matter who's come through the KOC system. And so with that, I would preach to them, the fans, you got to have patience with a young quarterback. Yeah, he's in year 2, but to your point, this is his 4th game. And there were times and moments that you saw that first-round capability. Some of those ball placements he threw into Addison that was dropped, but it was a perfect drop in the bucket. The touchdown to Justin Jefferson. And then other times it's a little frantic. It's a little him trying to work his way through, figure things out. The thing that made J.J. McCarthy special coming in was he got better when the stakes got high in college, right? And so for a young player, you got to trust those mechanics. You got to trust putting him and leaving him in these situations to work his way through so he gets comfortable from start to finish. But there was enough in this game where I thought, okay, I can see what the Vikings see in him and why they believe he could be the quarterback of the future.
Both these teams need to win this game. Who do you think will?
I got the Ravens. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he's highest success rate, and he's the best when he gets pressured. Minnesota being the number 2 team in the league that pressures you, I see Ravens having a big game, and they're also in playoff mode the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think Baltimore as well. I think, number one, Baltimore defensively, with Kyle Hamilton down near the football, it's a completely different unit. The way that they are really making offenses one-dimensional, meaning that you're making them a pass-heavy offense because of his performance, is a big deal. Last week, Baltimore's offense was just okay for me. Lamar was just okay. Everyone made this big deal that it was fine. They ran the ball a little bit better as the game went on, and that's the shocking thing was I think they scored 28 and they were just okay.
Yeah.
So first week back, grace. Now that he's back, Lamar, he's got that game underneath him this year. Can this offense start to take off?
Right.
And they have a long break. They have the little mini bye, right, coming off of that Thursday night game, so extra time to get ready for it.
And
Final word.
And they went out and added Draymond Jones to their defense, and they believe that that's going to be a big-time upgrade along the defensive front.
You know, there are playoff games sometimes in early November. This feels a little bit like
I
one.
would say the Ravens got to basically win out. There's grace for maybe one loss.
And the Vikings, too. I mean, this is a team that was thinking Super Bowl thoughts. That whole division is over 500.